Sydney camp, the marvellous design of Walker. It's thought to design. The thing about the airplane is certainly quite unique. The engine, instead of taking its air in the front and blasting it out the back, like ordinary jets do, blasts the air out through 4 nozzles, 2 on each side of the airplane, 2 towards the front and 2 towards the back. And at the hover, the airplane is controlled, its attitude is controlled by a series of bleed nozzles all around the airplane that can raise each wingtip or raise the nose or raise the tail by just blasting little gouts of air straight down. And at the hover, of course, it sits on 4 vertical columns of air, which I don't quite appreciate is the fact that the air coming out of the front nozzles is cold, being intake air. The air coming out of the rear nozzles is red hot, being exhaust air. Not a lot of people know that. But it's a remarkable aeroplane, and it's British. A minute, which is a considerable improvement on the Cessna 152, I can tell you. Its range is about 900 miles, and service ceiling 27 is called the Twin Harvard, or the Wichita Wobbler, or the Sun and Beach. But the Model 18 was... Right, Anthony Hodson has just asked for takeoff clearance, which has been granted. And so in the next few seconds you'll see him rolling for takeoff. Yes, up come the birds. Bit of a crosswind from his right. So you can see the rudders working quite hard to keep the airplane straight. There's the Harvard Yowl. And the decisive lift off, because when you've got a crosswind, the last thing you want to do is to risk the airplane sinking back onto the the ground again. In 1958, this airplane was put into storage for 5 years, and it was later sold as surplus. With only 1,900 flying hours on the clock by 1963, much of its airworthy. In 1991, the Beach passed to its present owner, Anthony Hodson. Ferrying it across the Atlantic via northern Canada, Greenland and Iceland in November 1990 was something of a... The airplane also suffered persistent starting problems. And in the next 30 flying hours it took to transport the Beach, it consumed more than 50 gallons of oil. Now, if somebody had told me that about something I was thinking of buying, I think I would have thought twice. But luckily, Anthony Hodson took it over, and he got the means to have a lot of work done, and on taking possession, he soon commissioned an extensive overhaul, and yet more restoration. The airplane is now registered Golf Bravo Sierra Zulu Charlie, and the aircraft is based at Anthony's home airstrip at Bryn Gwyn Bach on the North Wales coast. It's a grass strip, little more than a pair of large sheep grazing fields united by the removal of an intervening fence. And it also, to make life even more interesting, slopes dramatically through more than 150 feet from east to west. View of the crosswind, you might possibly wheel it on the right-hand wheel. Yes. Nice landing there. To the type. And believe me, he's a very kind, gentle, very understanding instructor. He's been told to line up and hold. The old Corsair sounds like it's got a thud in its throat, but I'm sure the old 22 or 2800 Frank Whitney will get the idea. Do be advised there's going to be quite a slipstream when it fires up, so mind your eyes and ears and hang on to your hats. And here he goes. Stick fully back already. Here's a 360 horsepower but NF radial. He should whip the wheels in. Now watch. Don't let your eyes leave him for an instant. You might miss something. He's holding it down, letting the speed wind up to probably 300 kph. Oh my God. A flick straight after takeoff, but certainly not more than 100. There he goes into Lumchuac. He's left his script already. That was certainly a Lumchuac, which is a Czech word meaning drunkard, because the airplane just sort of ends up tumbling end over end. A stall turn after a three-quarter roll, yes, a stall turn. This one goes to the right because the prop goes round that way. A quarter roll, there's the quarter roll. To the horizontal, up to the vertical. This is his inverted spin. Yes, inverted spin with the cockpit on the outside of the turn. Up to there. Rolls on the climbing 45. Through now into a 4-point hesitation roll. 1, 2, 3. Pull it down. Pull back the horizontal. Now watch this. This is what he calls the abracadabra. That's where your backnet egg goes sliding down the windscreen, believe me. Now, that's a Cuban. Here's the tail slide. He just holds the aeroplane to vertical, close the throttle and let it fall backwards, and the nose snaps down. And what was that? And now is a rolling circle. This is the most difficult maneuver for any tyro aerobatic pilot to master, because you're moving everything. Very satisfying maneuver. Snaps the rudder straight. Here's an avalanche at the top of the loop. Watch what happens. When he gets to the inverted, now watch. Flick roll. And he completes the across the loop. And back down the runway. Watch what happens now. And he puts the wheels up. I don't believe this. He's going to land out of it. He is. Well, that's absolutely incredible. I hope, ladies and gentlemen, when he taxis back, you'll give him a huge round of applause when he gets out of the cockpit. Thank you, Kenneth. That was wonderful. I've just been asked if he's doing pleasure trips in that. Any takers?
Next one is Mustang.
And I think turning height into speed, there's probably 400 knots on the clock there. With very poor visibility. Another high-speed pass there. It was pretty long-legged in the undercarriage department in order to give clearance to the great propeller, said to be the biggest ever fitted to a single-engine fighter. To increase the clearance, which undercarriage alone could never have achieved, the wings were of inverted gull format. And the fuel was supplied to the engine through a Stromberg injection carburetor. It was a rugged machine which could take any amount of punishment on the flight deck and at first make light of it. Everything about it was high class and great attention to detail proclaimed itself wherever one looked. The cockpit was meticulously arranged with all the dials readily visible and every lever and switch to weight in gold if hydraulic trouble arose. Both undercarriage and arrestor hook were hydraulically actuated, but should pressure fail, the hook fell off lock position. Thanks. Rumour had it that the prototypes had been equipped with spin chutes on their tails. Whether this was true or not, the pilot's handling notes were emphatic on one point, that spins should not be deliberately undertaken. If you look approximately in your 1 o'clock, you will see a Lockheed Hercules. The thing that you might spot is that it's not in the usual Hercules camouflage. It's in actually civilian markings, because it's a civilian aeroplane and it's operated by a firm called RAF Valley, based in South Africa, flown by Captain John Pillans. And it is actually based at East Midlands. And there's a fabulous list here and a lovely sight. If you look to the right of a Herc on a low pass, trailing the old paraffin out behind it, and there's the sun, a beautiful picture for you. It's difficult to believe, I mean, the old Herc has been around for so many years, but how long has it been around? Well, it first flew in 1951. And there's a low, slow, everything down and dirty pass. Being rocked from side to side, trying to make the navigator sick. But here is a list of the sort of thing that SAFAIR do. Antarctic and Arctic operations, screw dropping, oil spill response. They can stick detergent sprays in aeroplanes to maintenance and conversions. He's reaping it round now to come in down runway 05. No, beg your pardon, he's going away from us. Get an almost perfect plan view there of Lockheed's famous C-130. This is the model actually with the stretch in the forward fuselage. As it goes past, you'll be able to see that the forward fuselage is quite a lot longer than the old RF types. And here he comes in from the left, very spectacular. Low and fast. What a lovely picture. Yeah. Go on, slowly. The Sea Fury, just touching down on runway 19, wheeled on beautifully by its owner Paul Morgan. There in October 1930. This resulted in ferries designing the prototype S930, for which they received the go-ahead less than a year later. More like the stringback. The stringback, by the way, is a word which I shall be using in the next torpedo strike reconnaissance, which, however, already looked like an escapee from the First World War by comparison with those being delivered to the RAF, where the fighters all bombers. A total of 692 swordfish had been built by early 1940, and now ferries went over to producing albacores exclusively. Now this was an improved, cleaned-up version which was intended to replace the swordfish, but never actually managed to do so. The albacore was no mother than built swordfish, by the way, were known, believe it or not, as blackfish. And in fact, the aeroplane standing out there with the engine running, waiting to go, is a blackfish. Built 1,080 of these, and then the later ones, the faithful Pegasus 3, was replaced by the more powerful Pegasus 30. By 1944, this in turn had been superseded by the Swordfish 3, known as the pregnant stringback, also powered by the 30. This is the one with the big radar scanner slung between the undercarriage legs. A total of 320 Mark IIIs were built by Blackburns, making a grand total of 2,392 stringbacks. There with it. Being restored at this precise moment at Blackburns. And there he goes. A real gentleman's aeroplane, if ever there was one. Of Italy's Instep, and was the main base of the Italian Navy, the most important, the most heavily defended port in the Mediterranean. In 1940, it was sheltering a fleet of enormous strength and firepower, which gave, as they thought, the Italians complete command of the sea, their Mare Nostrum. No fewer than 6 battleships, 9 cruisers, 17 destroyers, a multitude of smaller craft. Apart from their own guns, which raised up to the 15 inches of the 2 Littorio-class battleships, they were protected by innumerable shore batteries. And beside this, 22 barrage balloons stretched their deadly cables from barges and breakwaters encircling the harbour. And all 6 battleships were protected by anti-torpedo netting. To attack this fortress, which should have been impregnable, my Lords of the Admiralty sent, yes, 20 stringbacks, 2 officers in each. It's hard to understand now how such a decision was ever made. I mean, the charge of the Light Brigade simply wasn't in it. Can it really have been foreseen that the entire mad venture would be anything but a disaster? It had been necessary to scrape the bowels to get these biplanes together. The newly commissioned Illustrious was the only serviceable carrier in the Med, owing to boiler trouble in HMS Eagle. She carried a few fighter aircraft and 2 TBR squadrons, 815 and 819, which boasted 22 stringbacks between them. The number was brought up to 20 by the addition of 5 from Eagle. It was absolutely on the card that all 20 would be lost, leaving the Mediterranean fleet without a swordfish to its name, and that the raid would achieve nothing. With all this at stake and the tiny numbers involved, it might be thought axiomatic that the 2 squadrons would join forces in one attack. But no, they were briefed to go in Italy's heel, within very short range, very easy range of shore-based bombers. Now you come to the amazing bit, because both squadrons pressed home their attacks with unbelievable gallantry. An 815 Swordfish arrived 15 minutes early by mistake, So the gunners were alerted, and a devastating curtain of fire was waiting to greet the biplanes as they bumbled in at all of 90 knots. You can see how fast this one's flying now. The Italians had just one problem. The torpedo carriers came in so low, at less than 20 feet, that the gunners would be firing at each other, and at their own ships, and at the town of Taranto itself, once the stringbags had entered the harbour. But how could they possibly miss such sitting targets? But the outcome of this raid was little short of miraculous. Scored a direct hit. And here, perhaps, is the most remarkable fact of all. An average of about 5,000 shots were fired at each of the stringbags, yet only 2 succumbed, and the crew of one of these survived to be made prisoners of war. None of the other aircraft received even a single hit, so the total loss of life to the Navy amounted to 2 officers, and the entire balance of power in the Med was reversed. Commander Phil Shaw on his team, thank you very, very much indeed. Well, it looks as if I didn't miss it at all, because this looks like possibly a landing approach. No, it's just low and slow. There's a nice photo opportunity for you, with the sun glinting off the leading edge of the wings and the spinner. He's doing an encore for us. September 1996, this aeroplane was adopted by the city of Leeds, and now proudly wears the city's coat of arms and name on a port side, just forward of it. In November 42. If you look to your left, here he comes back in for another high-speed run. The Sea Fury pilots shot down 1 MiG and badly damaged 2 others without incurring any damage to their own aircraft. A flight leader left is used by 805 for air displays with the side number 14. And in 1st of November 1962, it flew to Bankstown near Sydney for disposal. I see to San Francisco, and this is where it started the real exciting chapter. Standard 72-litre Pratt & Whitney 28-cylinder engine. Qualifying speed was 372.5 mile an hour, and it was placed 3rd in the silver race at 363. To Sywell, overflying the site of Langley after a 46-year world tour. Quite a remarkable story. Langley in Buckinghamshire, of course, was the site of Hawker's factory, where well, I'm absolutely overwhelmed. I've just been sent a free drink of lemonade by the lemonade lady who's taken pity on my vocal cords. If you're listening, dear, thank you very much indeed and much appreciated. Cheers. If you look to your right, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see Paul Morgan bringing the Sea Fury into land. He's wheeled it on nicely. Landed well short. That genius Sydney Cam, Hawker's chief designer, taxiing in towards you with the yellow spinner. The Sea Fury was one of his designs, and his last masterpiece before he retired from Hawker's is now taxiing out for departure. The wonderful Harrier.
By the time we're back in order, I expected you to put your hand up the gable and
Throttle for the stop.
I'll just pull it out.
Sophisticated nav attack system, increased internal fuel capacity, in-flight refueling capability, and airframe stressed to withstand up to 75% of a 3,000-hour safe fatigue life. Carrier HOS Hermes for ground attack operations in the Arctic. Weapons and carried a 3,000-pound external. Here we are going down to the hover.
Yeah, there it is.
Daddy, why is that white?
I don't know.
Way. What's the area?
I'm doing movie.
Watch her now. Watch her.
How much is that?
Yes, thank you. Yes, for you.
Wait a minute.
You want a hot drink, Anne?